So, um, I want to ask two more questions. One, I want to bring this up. And once again, I didn't know how to transition to this, but another thing that you said that I really liked, you talked a little bit about birth control in that episode. And we on this podcast are anti-birth control for a myriad of reasons, but I think it's really important. The main reason is truly it's not good for us women. Like, it affects us in ways that just were unprecedented. This was a new invention that you can argue was good, and it was you can argue that if you'd like, but truly it's just not good for our bodies. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, that's kind of like out of left field, I guess, for this episode, but you mentioned that and I really want to talk about that. So can you talk, on the episode you were just saying how like you think birth control kind of helps with complacency, and did you hear about people being on birth? I don't know, just like expand on that. What are your thoughts on that?
The birth control thing was something I came to through my own experience. And I mean, maybe birth control does work for some people, but for me, I realized when I got off of it that I was a completely different person, especially sexually.
I hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I do as well. There's actually a lot of like research coming out that it really does like change your brain. And I was, I don't want to say had it forced down my throat, but essentially, like at a very young age,
Yeah.
my mom was like, get on birth control, because that's just what she was told. And that's what she thought was best for me, because she thought that if I was going to be sexually active, then at least I wouldn't be getting pregnant. But I don't think that, and we've talked about this now and she agrees with me, but what it actually did was it made me more sexually promiscuous, because I knew I couldn't get pregnant, but also the way the hormones affected me was that I was horny and I wanted to have sex. And I think that side effect is something the creators of birth control liked, that they want women to want to have sex and they want them to be overtly sexual, because then men can easily get sex without repercussions. And when I finally got off of it, it was actually after I stopped working for the company, I finally got off of it and I just became such a different person. Like when I was on it, I had such a short fuse. And I was like very quick to cry, just very emotional, like all the time, but especially around my period or my PMSing or whatever. And I wanted to have sex with people who weren't my boyfriend, or like I was like more willing and eager to have sex with someone I wasn't in a relationship with. And after I got off of it, the complete opposite happened for me. Like now I do not want to have sex at all unless there is someone I want to have sex with. So I don't have like urges. I mean, I mean, maybe some people do, but I think it was the birth control that made me wish to have sex. And because your hormones are all out of whack,
Right.
because your body thinks you're pregnant and all of these other things. So, I think the creators of birth control, they don't want me the way I am now, where I don't want to have sex with someone unless I'm in a relationship with them. They want me to be promiscuous and be out there because sex is a way of controlling women and a way of getting what they want. So, I mean, that's just my personal belief based on my own experience. I mean, people have to do what's right for them.
Right.
But when I was young, when I was 15, I think, I got the Depo-Provera shot, which is
At
like a birth.
15,
Yeah.
the shot? Oh, wow.
Mhm. Yeah, which is like a birth control. It was like kind of new at the time, I think. And it made me absolutely crazy. Like it just like made me off the handle, and like at
Oh, wow.
15 you're already a little crazy. And
Yeah.
so after it was over, it was 3 months basically that I was like a basket case, and we went to the doctor and my mom was like, oh well, I guess you're gonna have to try something else. Like, I mean, at that point it should have been like, well, maybe birth control is not right for you, like maybe you shouldn't be engaging in casual sex. Like that was never the conversation. It was like,
Yeah.
what other birth control what chemicals can we stuff in your mouth? And so I think that the normalization to me is the problem. Like people can make
Yeah.
the right decisions for them. If they want to do that, they can do that.
Yeah.
But they need to understand that off of birth control, you're going to be a completely different person. And maybe you've heard of like people who have been on birth control for a long time. When they get off of it, they're not attracted to their husband anymore.
Yes.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's just like, it's
Scary.
very crazy. Yeah. It's very
Mhm.
crazy. So, I mean, I would advise against it, but that's just my personal preference and belief. I mean, people have to do what's right for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and kind of piggyback off of that for 2 seconds, I believe her name is Alyssa Vetty. She did a podcast which like blew my mind, changed my mind on like this topic and our cycles and all that stuff. And she talked about the creation of birth control, or she like compared the creation of birth control and the creation of what are the man pills? Viagra. And she was just
Oh.
saying how, like, when there was any type of slight side effect with Viagra, they said, oh, we got to fix this right away. And the whole birth control, they didn't do as many trials because it's really hard to do things for women when they're fertile. So even like different diets that they have or just any type of pills or whatever, whenever they do trials, they typically do them on menopausal women because they don't want to mess up your fertility, which is completely understandable. I'm not mad at them for that. But because of that, I think we need to have, once again, informed consent. I think we should know a little bit more about, like, this thing right here is not as, there's not enough testing on it. There isn't as many, there's so many side effects. I mean, the sheet of paper, I don't remember who put, I think it was maybe Alice Clark posted the sheet of paper of birth control, the side effects. I mean, it's like 3 times this size.
Yeah.
And I just think women and young girls don't know that. I have friends that started even just for acne at like 14, 15 for
Right.
acne. And that is just so crazy. There's so many other ways that it could have been treated than having to do that. So I wanted to bring that in just because you said that and I was like, that is a good point. That is important. Sorry. One more question, then a question after that. Thank you for watching this clip of Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. You can watch the full episode here on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.